Hello everybody, my name is Florian Edukaushe and I'll be presenting Teams 2's project for this week. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay. The members of this team are Aquino, Nicole, Caldate, Josh, Kashebu, Florian, and Wright Tiffany. In our scope plan, we used this as our home page. And we have our Gantt chart, that's our timeline, and the peak time in which we used to execute this project. The total time that was used for this project was 2 weeks. We also have a critical path with our Gantt charts. In phase 1, we worked on the wireframe, days, the color scheme used 2 days, fonts used 5 days, design and graphics we used 4 days, and we used 1 day for the final design approval. In phase 2, we worked on contributors selection. We used 4 days. In the content, we used 3 days, and we also used 4 days for the approval, and we added the content pages. In phase 3, we used 4 days to set up and test the site. We also added a payment system using 3 days. And we also tested the site and the payment system to see whether it was working. And we submitted it for final approval, which took 3 days. And we set up the site so that everyone could have access to it. And these are cost plan. These are planned cost. This is our end value. This is our actual cost. And this is the difference between the two values, the cumulative value. We planned for $1,000 for the layout, but we ended up spending $3,000. So the discrepancy was $2,000. For the approval, we planned for $750, but we ended up spending $3,000, and the difference was $2,250. For testing the site, we planned for $2,000, but we went over our budget by $1,000, and we spent $3,000. In our design review, we incur these costs. So these are the breakdown of the cost in this chart, the cost plan. Some of the risk that we took had to do with decision making. Each member was given a responsibility, and that was risky because each member had to deliver, and if they don't deliver, that meant that our project wouldn't have been completed. The website functionality, technically anything could have gone wrong, but we didn't face any such challenge. For the scope creep, there was no challenge either. Our only challenge was under the resources commitment, and in terms of money. For the time, we made use of it and we were able to complete the project on time. In our initial design review, we completed by designing the website and creating sketches for the site We concentrated on elements required for the site, the domain name, responsibilities that were delegated to each team member, and also we had to submit the cost for it to be approved. Now with the cost and everything being approved, we started the project. Even though we ran the risk of going over the budget, we were able to complete it. The design of the website was created and reviewed, and the domain also were obtained by the client. In the detailed design review, we looked at the layout, the wireframe, that's how the website will look like, the template. And we looked at the color schemes, the fonts, graphic designs, content, as I talked about earlier, the risk and issues that had to be resolved. The design was completed and the website was enhanced and created within the budget. And this allowed our project to be completed at a lower cost, even though there were some discrepancies in the values as shown earlier. We also created a prototype design to test whether it would work. Okay, so after creating the overall site and the payment system, we had to test it to see whether it would work. And after testing, realizing that it would work, we did our final design review. In the final design review, we did our final testing of the site and all the issues that were discovered in terms of responsiveness of the site and all other issues were fixed by the team, and all components of the site were shown to the client and for approval. As discussed earlier, we had some risk with decision making, and we had to review them since we were now going to hand over the site to the client. We also had to review the site functionality, the scope creep, and all other risks involved in the project. Resources that we used time. More time was required. The original time that we planned to use was 45 hours, but it had to be stretched to 66, the final project, because of some discrepancies. We also used peers to review, others in our profession to review our project to get their point of view and see whether our project had no loopholes. We also used Microsoft Word and Excel to draft the Gantt diagram and also for documentation. We use Google Drive to collaborate among team members, because each team member has his or her role to play. So after completing the assignment, we use Google Drive to share to see what each member has come out with. We also use Google Hangout to communicate with time. We also use Colorwell and font examples on the internet. And we had a graphic designer who designed the logo and also worked on the pictures of the website. And this is just a summary of the resources. Thank you for watching. Just awaiting your feedback.